The All right. Whew. Put my cowboy hat on for Mother's Day here. We're burning daylight. What do you mean, Dale? We're burning daylight. You got things to do? Did you not feed your animals today? What you got going on, brother? All right, folks. So welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner. This is PRT, and welcome to the real reality. So what we got going on, thank you, Paula, for that donation. Thank you for the donations. We really appreciate it. We could really use it. But let me say something. We are just constantly getting mass reported. We're getting trolled hard, and they're attacking us from every angle. I mean, we're getting slammed. Shows getting demonetized and stuff like that. Not the last one though.
No, surprisingly.
They'll
try.
It's the ones where we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We didn't say nothing. So we're being quiet for like a month and a half, and then they wouldn't stop, and they wouldn't do nothing to them or say nothing to the ops. So why not? Why not just say what we got to say?
Like Josie Wales, to hell with them fellas.
Yep.
Buzzards got to eat too.
So we had to do what we had to do. Say what we had to say. Can't just sit there and let somebody tee off on you, man. And so here's the thing that's really weird stuff going on in this world today. I can't even fathom. I don't know. It's just so bizarre, man. And it's not even the paranormal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's this weird, what do you call it? Pop culture stuff going on. All this weird stuff going on in pop culture. Can't talk too much about it because you'll probably get in trouble. Get in trouble with. There's some weird stuff going on right now, man.
Definitely a paradigm shift happening.
Yeah, Home Planet. They're gonna ban you for some weird stuff, man. Weird stuff. It's like they know they can see with their AI bots. They can see, through it. When you try to say something, they're like, "Uh-oh, this could lead down the rabbit hole, which could lead them to us, and we don't want that." So they have to censor things. They have to try to stifle you. And that's what's happening right now, man. It's happening big time, man. I tell a lot of people too, complaining, Here's the main problem is that people don't know who the bad guy is. Some of the names, but you don't know really who they are. Like exactly where do they come from? What are they? Who they are? And that's something I can't tell you right now because I don't want to get body slammed by YouTube. By Oogle. Oogle be like, no, Earthling, you can't talk about that. Because it's weird. Because it's weird. It's really weird. Here's the weirdness about it. You can talk about their masters, the people that are in charge here as humans. You can talk about their masters because nobody's buying it. Nobody's believing that. That sounds like a science fiction. Yeah, it sounds crazy. But if you talk about those people that are puppeteered by them, then you're in big, big trouble. They'll cancel you. They'll destroy you. And the sad thing is so many people are still living in this matrix of reality that they created, that their false God created for us. And like Jesus said, he's like, Satan is the ruler of this world. Their God is Satan. Make no mistake about it, dude. They can pretend all day long. And like I've said before, You know, there is, and yeah, and I could do more Rumbles, but Rumble's platform's terrible.
Yeah.
And what really sucks is that if people will run to Rumble and they'll see that, and then they'll disassociate from us because they believe that you're being the bad guy. Because there's entire generations up until recently who were born, bred, and raised on these TV networks where all they do is pump out that same party line. And these people, they can do the worst, most evil, most atrocious things, and they're still looked at as the good guy.
Eternal victims.
They can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
They do it all the time. They murder people, and then nothing happens.
You're not one of them, so you're not human.
Yeah, you're not a human. You're not a person. So that's the crazy thing, man. You got some weird stuff going on here, man. And I wish I could say more, but it is just you know, we are where we're at. So waiting for some people to get into the chat. And something weird happened yesterday. We were driving. This is a true, I'm not even joking, man. We were driving and somebody was playing a song and they had their windows down. And these were young guys. Two of them were black males. One was, I think he was Hispanic or something. And they were bobbing their heads, you know, and jamming. And I was like, man, they're just getting it, boy. And their car, they were just bouncing around up in there. And I turned my music down. I was like, what is that? And I kid you not, Anthony, we were sitting there in traffic, right? And these guys were playing the new Kanye song.
Yeah. Kind of, that would kind of throw you for a loop.
I was like, and because their music was coming, they had a little Beamer. It was a nice little car.
Yeah.
But it was blasting from it. It was loud. And if you haven't heard what Kanye's new song was, I don't even want to say to go listen to it because then people can be like, oh, you're a bad guy because you're one of those bad guys. So what I'm going to do is go out on a limb here and I'm going to say something about this. Okay. And I went back and I looked at it. Anthony was like, yeah, he keeps up with stuff like that more than I do. Him and Tony know more about that than me. And I was like, what? Now, people are going to say this guy is Fruity Pebbles, he's Fruit Loops, whatever. I have mixed feelings about it. And on the one hand, I don't think he's completely crazy. I think he's pissed. I think he is an angry individual. And like I said, on the one hand, I agree with his anger. Knowing what I know about history, people are like, oh, he's crazy, this and that about the, and I'm going like, sort of. He is crazy.
Yeah.
But that don't make you wrong.
Yeah, crazy people aren't wrong about everything.
Alan Garcia says he's a puppet. No, he's not. I don't believe that. Now, what I'm going to tell you right now is if I could tell you everything, if I could download my brain into yours, you would see the real reality. Like, seriously, folks. I mean, I've been leaving my body since I woke up on the ceiling when I was 7. I know one time I said it was 11. I couldn't have been. I was living in West Texas. I was like, I think I was 2nd grade. But I've been doing it way longer than that. This is when I remember it.
Yeah.
And I can see the real reality. I've seen 3 people put curses on me. I watched them do their ceremonies. Then they want to scream and cry. He astral projected. Yeah, I saw what you were doing. I didn't willingly go out of my body. Something pulls you out of your body to witness so you will know. Then you have to go into prayer and fasting so that you can stop these people. Do you think I'm crazy?
Who was it that was pulled out of their body in the Bible? Immediately I was in the spirit. Remember that verse?
No, not off the top of my head. Look it up. I always tell everybody, if you're confused about a Bible verse, look it up.
Yeah, because that verse is about leaving your body involuntarily, how it just happens.
So you get, I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the Bible have been pulled out. If you just look it up, you'll probably find the verse. But you see what's going on. You see these people for what they are. And they didn't strike fear into my heart. The people that were attacking us day after day after day after day, you were found out. And they're a cabal, and they do practice witchcraft. And then they started snitching on each other because a couple of them were like, oh man, because they realized that I when I talked to them, I was like, I know exactly what you're doing. I know what you did. They're like, no, I didn't. And I was like, and then their friends were kind of like, yeah, they did. And so that first round, they all kind of snitched on each other and started apologizing. And at first, what's so crazy about it is they think you're doing magic like them. No, you're just witnessing what they're doing.
It was Paul in Revelation.
Paul in Revelations, yeah. Okay. So, you know, I know from years and years and years of being cursed, I've had prices on my head when I was doing shit back in the day. Nearly died being, you know, a part of that lifestyle, and then changing my life, flipping polarities and becoming security. Nearly died doing that multiple times. I would say near-death experiences not coming out of my body as like what they call an NDE, but like nearly dying. It's happened probably like 8 or 9 times. In particular, it's like 5 times I really remember that I should have been dead. And I'm sure my enemies wish to their devil god that I was. You know, I've been, you know, I'm one person. I'm telling you, they're trying to kill me. And the others that are doing it, they wish they could. And they will do anything. They will sleep with the devil if they could. And they are sleeping with the devil, but they would literally sell their soul to hell for all eternity just to get rid of me. What makes these people that way? What makes them that way? They are consumed by the parasite. They're consumed by evil. And there is a group of people on this planet that are the embodiment of the parasite. They are the race and the genealogy of that parasite. They have lied. They have cajoled. They have stolen. They have done everything evil that you could imagine. Their iniquity stretches from here to infinity. And they're not done. And they parade around as a child of light. So although I think that someone like Kanye he's off balanced and he's enraged, he's at that early stages of awakening. I had that awakening that he's having. I had it 30 years ago. In fact, I can tell you I was about 19 years old when I had it the first time I nearly died. Well, really not when I was a kid too, but talking about being as an adult. There were 8. Then there was like a 9th time, I think, that was like, I didn't even, I mean, if I want to count it, dude, somebody tried to run me over. It wasn't no accident. They veered over 2 lanes to try to hit me on the sidewalk. I didn't know who they were. Mm-hmm. And I was a young man, and I had no real like enemies like that. So this person was overtaken by evil to run me over. Another guy came into our club. He rushed past the bouncers and said that he had to kill me. We did not know who this guy was. The police didn't know who he was, and we never did figure out. He was like from Ohio. Never could figure out who he was or why he was there. He was just there. And he said that he was told that he had to kill me. Why is that? What told him that? He was a schizophrenic man. And I don't even count that one. Mm-hmm. I was almost abducted by men in black as a child, and I have like 5 relative witnesses that have told you, Anthony, they were there. Yeah. They tried to grab me and put me in a car, an old-timey looking car too. And my aunt and my mom's first cousins stopped them. I was a toddler. I was toddling. I vaguely remembered I was 2 going on 3. It was right before my 3rd birthday. And I was playing by a fence. I remember picking up a ball and just going up in the air because somebody grabbed my arm. Why do you think these things happened? How many people do you think this kind of stuff has happened to? Probably quite a few, but they don't talk about it or they don't remember it. I don't think I'm the chosen one. I just know that I'm awake from the matrix. I woke up from it. And then it's been a steady progression to where when I'm asleep, I'm not in the matrix. I'm out of it. I have a whole nother life going on. I'm not even joking. It's like I go to work. Kind of relate to that guy in the alternate realities story.
Mm-hmm.
And not to that extent, but yeah, you do work. I wake up sometimes, I feel like I haven't slept. I feel like I ran a marathon, drenched in sweat. What I believe, though, hey, there you go. It's a good comment. We could be the chosen ones. The people that follow us and that have allied themselves with us and who are here to learn and want to hear, you're all chosen. You are. They call us a cult. Well, this is the happiest, fun cult I've ever had because we're not drinking Kool-Aid here. We're just talking and we're sharing knowledge because that's what my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ wanted me to do. Their God tells you that he don't want you to have knowledge. He don't want you to learn nothing. He wants you to stay ignorant and live in this matrix, and he wants you to die in this matrix and then recycle, repeat. Because you're a battery to them. That is Satan. And he is the God of this world. This is his playground. Jesus came here to the enemy territory to pull you out. Do you realize that he had to shrink down? This sounds silly to say it.
It doesn't sound silly.
But Alice in Wonderland-ish kind of, where she shrinks down. Mm-hmm. There have been multiple people who've told me that that's happened to them. In fact, one of them is very close to me.
Yeah. The universe is a fractal.
It is a fractal.
Infinitely large and small at the same time.
And Jesus had to become an ant to come down here and be tortured and punished and try to teach us quantum people about the nature of reality. He showed us wonders, miracles. And even then, people didn't do it. You know what they did? They tried to kill him. And those people that tried to kill him, Jesus talks about them in Revelations 2:9 and 3:9. I'm not even going to repeat it. Go look it up. Because you know what happens? Those people, they embraced those false ones. They embraced the false ones and let them lead them and allowed themselves to be parasitized and in turn become parasites. And then, you know why? Because they embraced Barabbas. Today is Mother's Day, and my mother is gone. And if your mother is gone, my condolences. But I'm going to say this. Jesus' mother, she tempered Christ. She wept for her son. And Jesus' mother, I believe, played a key role in him not falling away from his mission. God gave him the perfect mother. I'm not saying she was perfect, but he gave her he gave him the right mother. So because when you're born into this flesh, you suffer from the DNA that you're living under, the construct of the body. That's why it's so hard to get out, because you're born suffering from the genetic reality of who you are. That's why monks and priests and all this other stuff, they do everything they can not to eat, not to drink, and try to just purify themselves, because the body will totally, absolutely fall into the matrix and corrupt you, because the body was created for this matrix. I feel sorry for people who don't get it. They don't grasp it. And you're not understanding how important the mother is in your upbringing. When you have a hard mother who doesn't bend or compromise and doesn't show love or compassion, you know what it does to you? You know what it does to you? It pushes you further into the matrix, where emotion allows you to web around you like a spider. And then you fall into anger. And then anger leads to the dark side. Anger leads to ego. And I believe that Kanye, he is falling into, and see, yeah, and David Jones says that's why they worship Mother Mary. I know some who idolize, it's idolatry. Yeah, I do. But I know just as many who don't. I'm not Catholic, but I can tell you this. She is to be revered and honored as the mother of Christ. And I will say this. Kanye has woken up into this matrix and he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know? When you first wake up, and then you realize who the Smiths are. And you'll know them by their works. And every time you see them by their works, pay attention to who they are. Pay attention. Look at the names of these people. Pay attention to what position they have in power, because Jesus says we face principalities in high places. They have corrupted mothers, and they have castrated the fathers. So that people get so turned around and so confused. Eventually, you'll go down that rabbit hole far enough, you'll start to see like the real reality. I pray for Kanye. I hope that he finds the real reality. He's at the very beginning. It's sad because I would say he's probably been there for a few years, but he's not where he's supposed to be yet. He's still way off. You'll eventually see it. You can't defeat these people playing fire with fire, evil with evil. The way to defeat them is to not participate. Non-participation. That's the way to do it, because they are agents of the matrix. They are the agents of the Kali Yuga. They are in control. They have a system. Their families rule everything and control everything. It's not a coincidence. I'm never going to tell you the lies. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to play ball. I don't care. It might hurt people's feelings because their world is, when that wall comes down, when that wall falls, you are in such shock. Some people go off and they can't take it. They take themselves out because they can't take it. And you know what happens? You just get recycled. And you've been given a watered down version of the true Christianity that you're supposed to be. And every holy book on earth is giving you the details of what to do. But you're not reading it, are you? You're not looking at that because you've been conditioned from Sunday school to not do that, because those people are apostates, heretics, blasphemers. Blasphemer of who? Moloch, the Shaitan. And yes, I've said this before, I'll say it again, Lucifer and Shaitan. Let me explain that whole thing, because there's a dummy that keeps railing, saying stupid crap. So I'll answer you. I'll give you the entertainment to answer your stupid ass ramblings. Two different things, okay? Not all of the Shaitan are Lucifer, but Lucifer is a Shaitan. Does that make sense? Not all aliens are demons, or not all demons are alien, whatever, blah, 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 vice versa. Mm-hmm. But he don't understand that because he's one of the retardation. He has the retardation. When you have that much cockroach poop in your domicile, it tends to cloud the judgment. It is very unhealthy to have them bugs around you. I'm not even joking. It makes you sick. They have things that get into your brain. They're starting to find, they've done studies that make you sick. They have a brain parasite. You know why people in Brazil are hyper aggressive and
spiral
from the
cats
cats
everywhere, the toxoplasmosis.
The toxoplasmosis. You think I'm joking? Parasites are literally the shock troops of the devil, of the Shaitan. The Shaitan is a title, but it's also a group of beings. And these people that go around saying that they're the good guys, they are following the god of the Shaitan, whoever that is at the time, and it changes hands. I'm serious. You think it's a whole world that you can't comprehend. If you were to learn, it took me 30. I started studying this when I was 17, really getting into that esotericism. And people have told me before, like really bad people, have tried to get me to go further in and use my ability. They're like, you have a natural ability. You should use it. Okay, Emperor Palpatine. And to do what? I used it to beat people's asses into submission for 20 years. But to do what? To wreck people's lives and lead them down the road like an antichrist? No, I'm not going to do that. All the riches in the world. I was offered a house, cars, money, nice things. I was offered nice things. I already got nice things. I got what God gives me. Thank you for that donation. But some people, they take the sucker's deal because how long do we live? 80 years, maybe? Maybe
Flash in the
if you're really
pan.
good, you're a flash in the pan. And this one guy was bragging on here, talking about, I've been alive for 800 years. And like, he keeps reincarnating and getting a new body, whatever. I said, doesn't matter if you live for 80,000 years. That's still a speck compared to what could happen to you for a really, really long time. So you have to understand something. These beings, they're tribalistic. They have their own little cliques or whatever. God doesn't do that. God does not divide us up. He doesn't. He doesn't have to. It says the devil doesn't divide his kingdom. You know which devil they're talking about? Which devil are we talking about? Because none of them do. They all want ultimate power. That is their Achilles heel. They're just as likely to attack each other as they are to attack you or attack God. The only time they work together is for the ruination of you and to attack our Father. That is it. Otherwise, they're family. They're sets. They're cliques. They're like gangsters, dude. I'm telling you. When you go and live the life I've lived, it wasn't by mistake. It wasn't an accident. I believe now I know this. I didn't fall into it by mistake. Everything I've done in my life, every war I've fought, has led me up to this moment, to this point. And I'm going to tell you this: Kanye better be careful because he's a very polarizing figure. He's got people listening to music that's going to, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but they're going to start looking into things.
Yeah.
And you open up that Pandora's box. They don't want it open. They want it to stay closed. Done deal. Poking the bear, exactly. Yeah, Alan Garcia, I'm not real sure why you keep saying that that's his job. I don't think so. Honestly, if you knew, let's put it this way, Alan, you and I, if we ever talked and you knew what I know, which I'm not at liberty to talk about it yet, maybe someday. If it comes back that I don't have much time and they're speeding up my death, then I will release everything I know before I go. And a bunch of you are going to be like, oh my God, and you're going to fall away and you're not going to want to listen. Yeah, I agree with that, Alan. The left and right is just it's a game. But they're using the left right now. Like they used the right to do 9/11, but they're using the left. Mm-hmm. You got to look through all of this smoke, folks. You got to look through it. So that's the key right there. If you can find your way through the smoke, you'll get it, because they throw a ton of distraction at you. Drugs, booze, pornography, all of that stuff. It's a major distraction. Sins of the flesh. You can't get away from it, dude. They keep you fighting over what is a man, what is a woman. They keep you fighting over who should get married and who shouldn't. They keep you fighting over the dumbest crap, and it's common sense crap. And then these automatons come out. I'm going to swim because I'm a man and I'm going to be a woman. And then who gives a shit?
It's all a distraction.
It's all a distraction. It's wrong. It's evil. And they know it is. And they know. But that's for us. That's for us, and to keep us busy and to keep us at each other's throats. Mm-hmm. Some people use that as a cop-out. Oh, we shouldn't fight each other because it's just because they're just chicken shit. I'll fight the fuck out of you. How about that? I don't give a damn what color you are. I don't care who you are. You ain't gonna whoop my ass. I don't give a damn. I don't give a F. Almost 50 years old, baby. Still pumping iron, still throwing hands. I don't care. I'll drop a diss track and I will rap. I will sing country music. I will wear a freaking cowboy hat. Because we're in the Matrix, baby. If you die, it ain't even real. What does it matter, folks? It's not even, this is all just bullshit, I want you at the top. That's who I'm looking for. The high priests that are in charge of this ceremony that they're doing. They killed Christ. What do you think they'll do to you? If Kanye keeps it up, he'll die. Not even joking.
Mm-hmm.
They destroyed some of the greatest armies that have ever existed, wiped them out, and didn't even have to do the fighting. No, that was for us to go in there in the slaughter pens of Europe and Asia. Evil bastards. Taking everything from you, all of your money. You got to sign your life over to get a house or even a car, some people. And you'll pay and you'll pay and you'll pay and you'll pay and you won't make any progress. You'll be 90 years old and you'll be like, well, I finally paid off my house. Thank you, light of the world.
Usury is just the law of the land now. Just how it goes.
It's horrible.
It's not. This isn't supposed to be normal.
This is not normal. You're a rat. You're an experiment project, whatever. You know what else is not supposed to exist? The Bear King. But it does. And that brings us into our episode for today. Darth Reven says, I know a lady saw a Thunderbird. Send her my way. I don't know how many times I see people saying, I saw this, I heard this. Send me the story. Josh Turner, prtpodcast.com. I'll put the banner down for you. Thank you to those people who are gracious enough to donate and help out with the show. Like I've said before, this isn't easy or cheap, and we spend a shit ton of money trying to get this show. And we don't get a lot of help. We are about to make it, though. We're going to do something to where you can't comment if you haven't been what's it called?
A subscriber?
Subscriber. If you haven't been a subscriber for 5 days, is it 5 days?
So as it stands right now, you can't comment unless you're a subscriber for 3 days.
3 days. Yeah, we're gonna extend that. And I hate to announce this, but because people don't want to help and they're not willing to do what needs to be done, I'm just going to come right out and announce it. We're probably going to be going behind a major paywall. It's been 6 years, man. And so, yeah, up there in Oklahoma, Oyster Mouth, you can go and blast that from the loudspeakers. You and the roofer go and say whatever you got to say. I don't give a shit. Because we're not going to survive. I've done everything I can. And we're not getting enough help. So what we're going to have to do is probably the whole thing is going to go behind a paywall, and it may not even stay on YouTube. We're going to have to go somewhere else, and you're just going to have to go there to listen to what I have to say. That way I can tell you the real reality. Deeper, further. I have at least 200 different stories ready to go right now. If nobody ever gave me another one, you would get at least, another 200 major episodes. I know, I counted. You know what I did yesterday? Anthony, you can tell him. I was on the computer for 6-7 hours.
Mm-hmm.
My eyes were burning, hurting. And I did 3 interviews. So, and then I got trolled. This is what they do, folks. They send me a fake-ass story, Mikio or whatever your name is, whatever. I'm a woman from Japan. Okay, robot. Then you send me a picture, which is some stock photo of a prostitute. That's what you are. This kind of people they are. But then they're not willing to talk and tell me their story. They just want to email me, and you want me to repeat that shit. You think you're cute, you think you're clever, and they keep sending me fake shit. But you're not going to get away with it. There is no escape. For you. You are part of the matrix. You have accepted the mark. You know what the mark of the beast is? It's a people. And when you accept their hegemony, you're accepting the mark of the beast. When you accept their lies and you participate in this, that's what you're getting. Work. So that's what's going to happen. So we're working on how we're going to do this, how we're going to extricate ourselves, and we're probably going to have to go behind a paywall. It's just going to have to happen. And I'm talking probably not real expensive, But that's what's going to happen. And I just don't have a choice. I can't get out what I need to say on here the way I need to say it, and I can't do it fast enough. You know, we'll probably have less people that'll show up, but it's probably we're just gonna and if we do it that way, the best way to that we can think of to do it, we probably won't need to do the donations or YouTube. We'll just do it from our website. So we don't have to be beholden to anybody and their bullshit. I can tell you what's going on for real. And if you want to hear it, hear it. If not, unsubscribe. And so you will subscribe. This is just an idea. And it'll be like $9.99 a month. And if we can get, a few thousand subscribers, that'll pay the bills. Big time. That's it. So, because I'm tired of being attacked, I'm tired of being trolled, and I don't want to fight with the people here on YouTube. There are maniacs here on YouTube that literally have relationships with their mothers and sheep. And people will pay attention to them. They like chickens too. They're like, boop, 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 boop. And people like it. I don't get it. So we'll get away from all that. So what we're going to start doing probably within the next month, we'll start having material that will go to a website because we're building it. And we'll see how it goes with this for another month. And if we don't get it with the results that we need or whatever, we physically cannot continue. We are not going to be able to continue. And it's not time for me to start running out and selling gold yet. So so what's going to happen? We're going to do it, probably go behind the paywall. We'll keep the podcast intact, but the live streams on YouTube will probably end at some point. Brian Fitz says $5.99 sounds good. No, I don't think so. I want serious people, because if you're paying $9.99 a month, you're going to be there. You're going to pay attention. You're going to learn. Not these people. Because right now, 22, right? 522 right down on the screen. 22 of those people are just trying to listen so they can plot and scheme on how to kill me and destroy me. So you can thank those douchebags for their bullshit. People inserting themselves that had nothing to do with me. Never did anything to these people. But if you woke up every day of your life being threatened, how would you feel? Me personally, I think they're full of shit, but they stress people out around me. You ain't gonna kill shit, dude. The powers that be might, but you ain't. You're too poor. You can't even you have a broken down truck, dude. How you gonna kill me? And the other dude, your truck probably got 300,000 miles because you're hanging around the killing fields over there in East Texas. I'm a physical, able-bodied person. You ain't gonna kill me. You might harm an innocent, weak person, but you ain't gonna do it to me. Those kind of people, that's like taking a wooden spear and go, I'm gonna go out there and kill a cougar. You ain't gonna do shit, boy. You old ass, stupid ass man, whatever. Been fired from 4 police departments.
Okay, but what if he's former
law enforcement? I've been to 5 different police departments.
law enforcement.
How come you never stayed in any of them more than 2 years? There's a reason for that, because you're a retard. How about that?
Now you look at here, boy. I'm former law enforcement, boy. I beat your damn.
If you're willing to take us to, if you're willing to follow us and go to the other, so that we can just do everything, because instead of depending on people's mercy, which we're not getting it, I'm just going to go there. And we do put out high quality content because I put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into this, and we're not getting anywhere. On YouTube, we're at 43,000. We have tens of thousands on the podcast, but together maybe 100,000 people at the most. That's not enough. Not for 6 freaking years of my time. Day in, day out, week in, week out, because we do it correctly. I could pump out a bunch of AI bullshit like Pork Pie Roberts and just make fake AI books. In my opinion, that's what he's doing. He pumps a new one out every month, folks. You think that's normal? Who writes like that? Stephen King couldn't do that. You fake ass little punk. They're fake people, dude. They're all fake, and they're getting rewarded for it, folks. Beady-eyed little fuckers. That's my point. So it's time for me to go to greener pastures, because that way I can actually find out who's a contender and who's a pretender. Because if you're a contender, you're going to go over there and you're going to want to listen. Quality over quantity. I'd rather have half the numbers and have real people who want to hear, who will go out into the world and spread the word, spread the message of what's really happening. People are really actually seeing these things. Do you know why they're seeing these things? Because we're living in a time period. It's the quickening, folks. It's happening. It's getting faster and faster. This guy, Brad, he contacts us. We've talked about Brad on the show. He had a dogman encounter in a cave. And that cave was found not far from Hernandez Ranch. Now, that ranch has now been kind of partitioned off into 4 different blocks. But, I mean, because the people that bought it, they were like, I guess they were going to develop it, and now they're like selling it in different whatever. So that's what's going to happen. So so just so you know, we're not jumping ship yet. We got about another month here, okay, for sure. And then we're gonna start doing shows that are pay shows on the website. And once enough people are on that website, then we're bailing on this. And these fuckers can have it. They can eat shit. I hate that I cuss so much. It's one of my sins. I'm a sinner. I can't help it. But when I deal with shit bags, that's what, it makes me angry. And I'd like to take a whip to their masters like the money changers that they are. But what can you do? So once we're ready, once that website is done, ready to go, we will start dropping episodes on there, and it will be at least once a week, and we'll stay on here until that is ready to go, and then we'll do probably a couple episodes a week, and that's where it's going to be, because we don't get enough help here. Post the PayPal link if you want to help out, and go to the PayPal. That's the best way to do it, and just donate straight to the PayPal. But and if it doesn't work out, I still don't see myself staying on this platform. I've outgrown it, and it's not for me. There's a bunch of childish people on it. You got to depend on all this crap. Please hit the like button, subscribe, donate, all this other shit. Fuck that. All right. Just go and buy the membership over there at the 6 years we've been at this. 6 years. Barely making it. So thank you, Rebecca. She says, I totally understand. Yeah, please do. It's time to, do what you got to do, man. If we were, an athlete or some kind of singer or whatever, it's time to get paid. You cannot just sit there and be broke and keep on, whatever. And like I said, I'm not going to just start hawking gold because, I could do something else with my time. I like doing this. This is like my passion, but you just can't make it. You can't. And to be where we are, and after 6 years, and then dumbasses are actually willing to say that we buy subs. 6 years. We should be at 100,000, but the mass reporting and the bullshit games that go on from these people, they don't stop. They don't stop messing with us because their overlords tell them what to do, and they do it, whether it's subconsciously or not. So what you have to do is go to a website, and if you want to watch it, then you pay the monthly fee. Simple as that. $9.99 a month is not that much. What do you think, Tony?
Sounds reasonable.
I mean, $10 a month, people pay that for streaming service that ain't worth a shit.
Mhm.
And if we do that, I'll give you 5 shows a week. We have already right now. We have the Monday show, which is the call-in show. And then after this, we'll start talking about this encounters. I just got to tell you though, we have got what we call it.
The Wednesday show.
The Wednesday show, the Wednesday weirdness, Fright Night Friday, Supernatural Sunday.
Call-in Monday.
Yeah, the call-in Monday. We had a name for it. I forgot what it was called. Nelly, if you're in the audience, you could tell me. We were talking about it last night, honey. And Anthony's on the phone dealing with work, like always, because all we do is freaking work. I was thinking that today. I was getting ready for the show. I was like, all we do is work. It's all we fucking do.
Yeah.
I hate it. I wanted this to be something that I could pour my money, time, heart, soul, everything into, and it's not. It's not. I could fill up this chat with 800 people, man, and you walk out of here with $100. How can you sustain yourself? I have to keep working. And people tell me all the time, why do you work all the time? Because I can't make a living any other way. You can't. There's no way. So that's what's going to happen, And I don't give a shit what my critics say. Everybody on YouTube is doing it. I'm one of the holdouts that said I'm not going to do it until I just started losing money hand over fist by doing the show. This show did not buy my gold. I can tell you that. Bought me a lot of heartache. But I love you guys. I love you guys. And I hate to leave people behind. There's going to be people who can't afford the $10 a month, I guess. That's pretty cheap. But you got to do what you got to do. You got to understand something. I can't continue. I've been saying this for the last 2-3 years, man. Like, dude. Yeah, Christian Aradano, gold is not cheap. And I haven't bought any in the last couple of years. It's too expensive. But yeah, $10. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put $10 and whoever wants to go and listen. If you don't, then you don't. And if you're just waiting around for me to stay on YouTube, you ain't gonna get much out of it. Yeah, Jason, he's a good one. Jason says, yeah, I never had any hope of making a living doing my show, but it's fun. Love all the people who support the show. Yeah, and there are good people. They're good people. And if they really love us, then they'll help out. I don't want to have to force the issue, but that's pretty much it. So that's where I'm at, man. So streaming on YouTube, they kill you by taking a huge chunk of your money away. Here's the weird thing. Like, we made a certain amount and it said this is headed your way when on payday, when they pay you. Then I go and look 2 days ago and they've taken more out of it. So it went down by like $80. With no explanation, no, hey, this is what happened. Can't get a hold of nobody to tell them, hey, there's a freaking gnat. And you can't do anything about it. You're just boned. So I don't want to work with I don't want to deal with that. That's not a partner to me. That's not. And so, it is what it is. And damn, Rumble is just crap. Can't get you can't use the damn app. Just forget it. You can't go live. We couldn't even figure out how to go live on the app. We tried. You have to do it on the computer, and it just if they really wanted to be a rival to YouTube, they would put more into it. They do more. I just don't see it. I'm not getting any vibes from them. So it's time for me to just move on. And so it's just time to go to a website and just, you pay to play. That's all there is to it. We have no choice. So sorry to announce that. Sucks. Really does. But, people aren't helping. So anyways, that's what's happening. There was another point I was going to make before we moved on. Yeah, I agree with that statement right there. Anyway, Nelly, if you could tell me what we called Monday. Monday, it was Monday Madness, but there was another word we used. Because we get the call-ins and it's just frantic. You got all these people calling in, coming on, jumping on, telling their stories. So we are gonna just ramp it up. Yeah, Jason, I'll jump on. We are gonna ramp it up though, and we're gonna load all the past episodes onto our website, and so you can go and look at them there.
Mayhem?
No, there was another word. I can't remember. What did we call it? Nell and me, you, and Nelly were talking about it, Anthony. Monday.
What, Monday Madness?
Nah, but it was called something else.
Oh, Macabre Monday.
Macabre Monday. There you go. Good job. Nelly. There she goes. Nelly just texted me right when she sent me I love you, Nelly B. And then they call Nelly an instigator. Like, yeah, right. Dude, she's defending me because you're freaking attacking me constantly. And then I have to get off of YouTube. I will. Sorry about that. My phone is so jacked, dude. I can't even get it to turn down. So we're at the 1 hour mark. We got 500 something people in here, and I promise you I will do 2 hours of this. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, guys. You want to take over for just a second?
Yeah, sure.
I got to make a quick.
Yeah, so I just got back from dealing with a work call, and he's got to deal with something for work too. Just like while we're doing the show, these things come up over and over. It's like every live stream, it's interrupted in some form. Usually, I'm the one dealing with it, but there are some things that he's got to step out and deal with. So, so yeah, let's just hang out in the meantime. Don't go anywhere. Gonna get started on the stories and everything. Now that the preliminaries and the announcements and everything are out of the way, we got some really cool stuff on the docket. You can tell from the title, because like a lot of you were asking last time on the last live stream, whenever Wolf talked about the Bear King, you were like, "What is that? What is a Bear King? What is a Bear King?" Because you all knew what the song was, but I mean, I guess like y'all don't really know like what that supposed legend or myth was, but it's, I mean, like most legends and myths, I mean, is that really what it is, or is it based on something a little bit more real, like a lot of folklore, a lot of these beasts and monsters of fantasy, myth, and legend are, I don't know, I don't think that they're a primitive culture's way of explaining the world around them. I think that they were probably just describing things that they saw.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So we had talked to a guy named Brad, and he became friends with the people from the Hernandez Ranch. He started out as friends with the guys from the Hutchins, which was next door. Like I said, those are pseudonyms, but that's Brad's real name. And Brad got in touch with me, and there was a couple other guys that were with him, and they were into spelunking. They go down into these caves and stuff. And he had actually gone into a cave down in Belize, and he was comparing one of the caves he saw up here in Central Texas to that cave. This cave that he found which is weird. Here's another weird thing. I think the Mandela effect has been in full effect lately. It has been really, really weird. I mean, really weird. Some weird stuff happening. I wrote something down on a piece of paper and left it on my desk. And now and I know exactly what I wrote because I wanted to challenge it. I wanted to see if the Matrix really is doing what I think it's doing. And I say things and people probably think I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm not a nut job. I'm not a lunatic. I'm very well grounded. And I'm a good businessman. You'd be shocked if you understood the inner workings of my life and my mind. You just know what you see here. But I'm going to tell you the truth. I have a pretty good grasp on this reality and the real reality. And that paper changed. No BS. I wrote it down and I left it on my desk for 2 days under a paperweight, and it changed. I know what I wrote. Just somebody messaged me about a Snoop Dogg song. Yeah, and I'm not like, I don't just listen to hip hop all the time. And like I've said earlier in the show, I mean, like I thought the craziest hip hop song I'd ever heard was "Who I Smoke."
Yeah.
Until I heard Heil, what's his face?
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of that. I mean, those guys were jamming out. I just was like, okay, whatever. You know, I mean, if that's the new trend, that's whatever. A lot of people are just going to be horrified and appalled. Oh my God, because you're stuck in this simulation, and you're being told who to hate, what to hate, who to love, whatever. It's all a game. Okay. Eventually, you'll go down that rabbit hole and you'll figure out who that guy was, and you'll figure out why he did what he did. But you'll also figure out that they were all a part of it too. But it's in stages. It's in stages. You'll go down the rabbit hole and you'll come back out and you'll be like, whoa. Now we know where the white rabbit goes. Right? But anyway, the Snoop Dogg song, it changed. It's that song Serial Killer.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a particular lyric on there, and it was subtle, you know, but the word changed. The word he used changed. And I'm not going to sit up here and go into it or whatever, you know, but it was, I said, oh, okay. So I listened to it and I was like, you're right. It did change. And it doesn't sound as catchy. You know how a lot of these Mandela things don't sound as catchy. They don't flow. You know, got my cash money pistol, yo. Now it's got my got dollars and a gun, dude. You're like, that doesn't even rhyme, doesn't even sound good. There was an Exodus song, a band that I used to listen to. It was a heavy metal band. I listened to them one day. And then the words, he says, the time will come when some madman will finally pull the plug. Now it's like some lunatic. Doesn't even go flow. It totally interrupts and disrupts the flow of the song. And you're like, what? And the people that do this, that are, you know, if you ask them, they're so in the matrix that they don't remember. They're like, oh yeah, that's what I did. You know why? Because they're doped up half the time, because that's the matrix's way of keeping you pacified. If you feel euphoric, and you feel relaxed and good, and you're unmotivated, well, hell, I mean, they got you, man. Yeah, Moonraker, James Bond. Yeah, thank you for that, Jason. Yeah, exactly. There's a million of these. I see them all the time, folks. What I wrote on that piece of paper, and I can't tell you what it is. It changed. The Matrix answered me. I'm not even joking. People are going to go, oh, George, turn it right on, flip this lid. Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm crazy like a fox. I know what I'm talking about because I know what I did and I know what happened. Passwords change. You ever had this happen? I've had a billion people messaging me about this. My password was changed. My password was changed. I hear that one all the time. Now, maybe it's just a mistake. But what if you wrote it down and then you typed it in and it really was different? Because what you wrote down should match, right? They should change that too, but they don't always do that. Because I believe Kit when he says that he's one of the clones that types the coding. Take a look at a map, folks, and then this is what I'm going to tell you. Look at the continent of India. It's called the subcontinent. Why? It's barely the size of one of these of like Sweden and Norway together. Why isn't that called a subcontinent? It's not even as big as Greenland. But at one time when I was a kid, there was like South America, Africa, and then this thing that was like about the half the size of Africa called India. But if you squeeze that landmass down into about a tenth of what it originally was, well, guess what? You'll have some serious overcrowding. And the people there don't want to live on top of each other. So what are they going to do? They're going to spread out all over the freaking world. Because these dickheads that run this world, the devil's children, the devil's people, they run the world. They are manipulating and messing with everything. And you're going to say, I can't believe how they could method out about what the computers say. Because you're a dumbass that believes that physical matter cannot be altered or changed. You really believe that all of this is just physical this is bullshit, dude. When you come out of your body, if you go beyond the astral plane, you will see the giant soup bowl that we live in. I've seen it. You become a ball of light like that big. I've seen myself in this mercurial mirror, and I'm not even joking. And that's when you really start to wake up and you're like, what in the hell is going on here? Why are there these slices that you can move and go into? Why do the Akashic records exist? Who made this? What is this? The one true living God is 1,000,000 pieces times 1,000,000. He's in everything. That was what we call the divine Holy Spirit. He is the one. These beings like the Bear King, I believe that they come from alternate realities. They walk in and out of it's like walking through an office building and looking in a room and going, that's interesting. Let me go and see what's going on in there. This goes so far beyond ghosts and cryptids and aliens. Those communities, they're scratching the surface, and they have conferences, stupid conferences with stupid people saying stupid things, acting like they're really making a difference. Some of the people there are enlightened, and some of them are just charlatan, full of shit people, which is why I don't really go to very many of them. Because even though I enjoyed the Paracon and I had a good time, there were multiple people there who were so far down on the level of they don't even know where the rabbit hole begins. They can't even they haven't even gone to the edge to jump into the rabbit hole, much less gone into it. And you try talking to them, and they're just like, wow, you want to buy my book? Not because you're sitting here breathing through your mouth. Why would I want to buy your freaking book?
It's not a ringing endorsement of it.
When you just go, and I asked you like several key questions, and then you tell me, I'll come on your show, but nobody's going to want to see you or hear you talk on my show, dude. My audience is so far above that. Take the training wheels off, stupid. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not even on a tricycle. They're in a wheelchair and somebody's pushing them. You're not even...
No, someone's not even pushing them. They're just rolling down the hill.
Rolling downhill. It ain't even got nobody pushing them. Nobody's that stupid to push them. And then they want to tell you to buy their book. Dude, I'll buy your book when they give me a choice.
Oh, someone.
They're like, take this bullet or buy the book. I guess I'll buy the book. I guess. I don't know.
Someone even made it worse. They were like,
something to read in the gulag.
I'll only go on your show if you buy the book and read it entirely. And then I'll go on your show.
It's like,
I'll have to quiz you on.
First of all, bitch, I'm doing you a favor. When did it flip and you become nobody in this community is doing me a damn favor by coming on this show? I hope the whole community hears that. Go make copies of this, Mike, and go and spread it to everybody. I just want to tell you about my Lord and Savior hating Josh. You pudgy, fat-faced little skin tag eater. Look, you just do what you got to do, man. Do what you got to do. People getting on there and trying to blow smoke up my ass and tell me some fake bullshit. Have you heard me repeat your story? You know why, mister? Because I knew you were fake. I'm not even going to say your name, Spencer. You liar, you fraud, you fake. And then I go and I look at the profile and you're hanging out with those dudes. Get the F out of it. Dude, get out of here, man. You're as stupid as those female Bigfooter people. Get the F out of here. Dumb as a bag of rocks. and as fake and phony and fraudulent as anybody out there. And one of them came on the show and was talking about praying to Bigfoot. Do you think I want you back on my show? Totally missed the point. I tried to offer you something because they wanted unique encounters for that TV show. Okay. And I'm just helping them out. Don't care. Don't give a shit. Probably not even going to tell my story on there because I don't give a shit. I don't have time to go fly to some other city and talk about what happened. I don't give a shit. I got things to do. I got money to make, people to talk to, things to do. Keep living in the matrix, folks. Keep doing what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Pray to a false god that Jesus tells you is a false god, and you still do it. He tells you over and over and over again, and you still do it. And you still think these people that are running our ass, even though he tells you exactly who they are and what they are, you still follow them. You're going to follow them into the mouth of hell. And they'll kill me. Guarantee it. And Yeezy better watch it because they're going to kill his ass too. Can't keep telling him. You can't talk about those people. I'm not talking about the real ones. I'm talking about the fake ones that actually have control. They'll blow this planet up if they can't have it. They will blow it up. You watch. There is a powder keg going on. You know, if India and Pakistan go to war, there'll be like 8 countries involved automatically, and they're about to go to war. Mm-hmm. Do you know if North Korea, South Korea go to war, there'll be a dozen countries involved automatically, and they're going to go to war. Do you think that we're not going to have another war? These wars keep happening. Nobody's paying attention. Nobody cares. Foxes in the hen house, man. Let me tell you, these creatures are becoming more and more prevalent. And like I said before on the show on Friday, one of them is one of the most terrifying creatures that you could ever imagine. And I am actually, I'm willing to go on the record and say, I'm not afraid of Dogman or Bigfoot. I'm afraid of this one. Because what Brad saw was a horrific thing. And this dude, he was trapped in the woods with this thing. It lost interest. That's all that happened. It wasn't, he was a dead man. So he messages me, and we've talked about 3 times, you know, we've talked. And this story here, I had been wanting to talk to him about it for a while. And he finally made time. This guy's a very busy dude. He was overseas. And so he comes back and he says, okay, I'll make time. We got to do this. This creature, he was out walking through the woods, going between 2 pastures. There's this big thick of, I got to show you some videos of some of these places about how thick the woods are so you will understand. We got to do that. We got the cameras now, but we have to buy some pieces for them and some other crap, but we got them. We just need the time now. We're just working. We work our asses off because we don't make enough money from the show. So we work our asses off. If we could get more time to breathe, we could go out and do these things, and I could show you what I'm talking about. These woods are thick. So he's walking through these woods. He's got a machete. And he hacked his way through because he was looking for the entrance of a cave that he was told about. He never found it. But he believes it's there, and there's something that I believe is there too. This creature, if you know the history of it, you know the history of it. If not, look it up. You can probably actually read about it. It's called The Bear King. There's a song we wrote about it. Nelly did. And so this thing, he hears something crashing through the brush. His first thought was a pig. Then he thought it's too big to be a coyote or a coy wolf. He thinks maybe someone's cow, or that's pretty big. Maybe a bull or a horse was trapped up in there because it was too loud, too big to be a deer of any size. And he turns and he looks, and even though it's like 4 p.m, the woods are so thick it looks dark. And you know some of these places, guys. Mm-hmm. We drive through them.
Oh, yeah.
Hell, that area right there by Ditmar where our ass saw that creature eating that dude. I mean, that was That's so dark when you drive through there. It's so thick you can't even see into it. It's like that Apache Pass area, or the area off of whatever that county road is where them guys tried to jump out the other night and act a fool. Yeah, very thick woods. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You don't understand the terrain over here.
Yeah,
there's small mountains, big hills, if you want to call them that.
Over there off of Comanche Trail.
It is. You could hide out in there, and you could be a big old creature and be up in there, and nobody would know. You go up in there, and then you get eaten. That's why those people that are talking about the skinwalkers off of that one road over there. I can't remember the name of that road. It's on the email. And Anthony, you could look it up, but it'd probably take you forever because your phone's a piece of shit like mine.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to get new ones. So this creature is growling at this point. And it's got this weird kind of rumbling, throaty growl. And Brad turns around and he's like, what is that? And he sees this thing. Then he realized what he was looking at. He thought it was a dog man. He had seen this before, and they kind of left him alone. They really didn't mess with him. He's seen two of them together. They got down on all fours and they took off into the woods. This was not that. Having seen a Bigfoot and two dogmen together, he's like, it was scary. The Bigfoot he saw from his truck, he was lucky. And it was just walking across the pasture, and it was huge, big legs like tree trunks. The two dogmen he saw was on Hernandez Ranch area. It was like adjacent to it. Then he believes that these things come from the inner earth. And I said, Brad, why do you go down and poke the bear, no pun intended, into this inner earth area? He says, because I want to get photos of these things. But he wants to take photos of these, whatever. Now, what he's looking for at this time, what he was really looking for was the interest of that cave. He saw these pale crawlers when he was down in Belize. He wants to photo those things, which is another nightmare creature.
It's a dangerous ambition.
Mm-hmm. He's seen multiple cryptids. I asked him this, and he's like me. He's got a mother who's Hispanic, and his dad's white. He used to live in New Braunfels, which seems like the whole town is half German, half Mexican. Every time you meet somebody from there, they're like, yeah, my mom's Mexican, my dad's German. So the German men really got along well with the Mexican women.
Yeah.
Don't know why that is. The accordion, I don't, beer, I don't know what. That sounds horrible. We're insulting two cultures there. I'm kidding. Esse. Okay. I'm just joking. All right.
Interesting mix, but it works.
I mean, whatever. I'm not really German, but I could be down with the Germans. I don't know, whatever.
Hello, fool.
Hello, fool. But it's weird. There's a lot of them there, but he used to live there. He wasn't originally from there, but he used to live there, and his girlfriend. And his girlfriend, she's from Central America. She's Colombian, and she's got a fiery temper, but Brad kind of does too. And Brad, though, he just looks like a white guy. When I saw his mother on his deal, I was like, you're half Mexican. He's like, yeah. I was like, I didn't know that. And like, you look at me, you probably just think I'm a white guy, especially if I'm wearing this. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be half white, half Mexican. I'm just going to hide my eyes like this so I can talk.
Next, everybody knows that.
Thank the Lord.
You look cool when you hide your eyes with your hat.
When you hide your eyes with your hat.
Yeah.
Devil eyebrows.
Them devil eyebrows. Look at this. Look at the devil eyebrows.
Like the anime characters do. They're always hiding their eyes, so you look cool if you do it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Now I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
No, you gotta barely do it.
Barely do it. There you go.
To where the visor barely hides your eyes. There you go.
There we go. We got another
See,
one.
look at him. Doesn't he look cool?
Oh, wait. No, I got it. There you
Look
go.
at this. So Toasty Walls, as my Mexican German friend calls himself, a Beaner Schnitzel. And Alexis says, I'm half French, half Mexican. Yeah. There's a lot more of us now than, because in my hometown there was only like two little families of us,
I had a teacher who was Czech and his wife was Mexican, and he called his son a Chexican.
Chexican.
Yeah.
But it just seems like New Braunfels is an entire town full of just, two cultures. But it's interesting. Brad, he sees this creature. And when he's talking to me, he's talking kind of, like a lot of these people do when they talk to me, researchers, whatever. And then all of a sudden, his whole demeanor changes. And he says, Wolf, he's like, what I saw wasn't a dog man or werewolf. He goes, I could not tell you what I was looking at first. I just saw it standing there. Human-like legs. They weren't the backward bent legs. He's like, and it had this big chest that kind of stuck out. You know how a bear, the body that's standing up, it's kind of inward,
Mm-hmm.
He said the chest was out like a man. He goes, you have huge shoulders. He's like, you have some of the biggest shoulders I've seen on a grown man. I have extremely wide shoulders. If you met me at the conference, you would see. My shoulders are absolutely they're wide. I have a very wide upper, my top of my body up here is very wide. And luckily for me, that's wider than it is down there. So it helps me to conceal some of my table muscle because I just have a huge upper body and big old chest. And so this dude, he sees this thing. He goes, dude, he goes, it was probably twice as wide as your shoulders. Like each shoulder was probably as wide as both of yours. I said, holy crap. He's like, you can't describe. He goes, it was not fear that I felt. He goes, it was terror. He goes, and I was having to hack my way through with a dull machete. He goes, and I could see the pasture on the other side for what good it was. He said, and I would jump that barbed wire fence. There's a couple bulls in that area, a father and a son. On the other side, there's a bunch of horses. He said, and a donkey. And any of those creatures would normally be, any match for a predator. And he said, but no, this thing, it stood there and it was just staring at me. He's like, its mouth was open like it was, and then it kind of sniffed the air, animal-like. He's like, and then it took its hand and it was pulling on like this sapling. And it just went, and it pulled this small tree down. He's like, if I took all of my strength, and Brad's not a little guy, he's 6'1". He's like 250. He's a big guy. He lifts weights. He's a big dude, man. He's got a lot of wind for a big guy. And this thing pulled that tree down like it was nothing, dude. Like he just snapped it. He's like, then it took a step toward me. He's like, and it was trying to survey the area. And I know what it was doing. It was trying to find the path of least resistance to me. He goes, and I don't know where it came from. He goes, unless it just popped up out of the ground. A lot of people report two things with these creatures. They pop up out of the ground or they pop up out of thin air. Why do you think that is?
To pop into our reality.
Popping into our reality, and also they live underground when they're in our reality. Does that make sense? Theories, postulating on theories, it's all, but probably what's happening. And so Brad, he is no punk. I know this guy. I've known him for like over 10, almost 10 years now. I met him through Jerry and his brother, Robbie. And this dude was working with him for a little while, but he had, other ambitions and whatever. He likes to do exploration, and he goes to other countries and stuff. And he speaks 3 languages, which is pretty cool. And so it's crazy. Like, dude, we were sitting there talking with him one day, and this was before this encounter. And he's like, you never know. He goes, the next terrifying thing just is right around the corner. Little did we know it really was. And this happened, like 3 years ago, but he sees this creature. He goes, dude, and I see it get down on all fours and it starts to walk around. He goes, and it's so bizarre looking. It's like a long-armed bear, long-legged bear. The back legs were very bear-like. You know how they look. He's like, you could see these big claws on the front of its head. You call it head. Arms, everything just covered in fur. Where the head, chest, neck area, it starts to kind of human out until it gets to the head. And he said, dude, this thing, he's like, it was about 9.5 feet tall. He's like, I'm a pretty good judge of height. And he spelunks. She has to be. And I'm like, are you sure it was? He goes, it was, I'm positive. He goes, I don't think it was quite 10 feet. It was about 9.5. Huge, huge body. The ears stuck up and then they kind of rounded down. They were like rounded triangles, as he describes them. And the way he described it, and Anthony, we've talked about it, it was like a werewolf mixed with a grizzly bear mixed with a bodybuilder or a power lifter.
Yeah.
What the F is that? And this thing, when people encounter these things, are highly, highly aggressive. The ones here. Now, I've heard of the ones in Yosemite. We talked a little bit about that on Friday. And that they'll abduct people and they'll hold you hostage. And then some of these people will claim that they see bones of what looks like people, like they've eaten people. These things hunt people. They hunt anything. One of the people claimed that these things, there were two of them, that they had this, and they think that there was a third because they heard another one, further back. And that they had a lair full of bones, of all kinds of bones. Elk, deer, just everything you can imagine. Cow skulls. And they're just like, what in the heck is this? And humans. They're carnivorous. They eat whatever they want to eat. But bears are actually omnivorous.
Mm-hmm.
Although I've never heard of a bear creature like that eating berries. These creatures, man, I'm telling you, there's something to these beings. There was a story we had told about some people who were having serious problems with these dogman creatures. And then while this guy was out trying to deal with that, he ran into one of these. And when he told us about it, we talked about it on the show. I remember what episode, but he said, dude, it was massive. It was not like these other creatures, and it didn't look like them. And Jenna Hollenbeck and Guadalupe Hernandez, no relation to the Hernandezes, they talked about seeing these. Guadalupe and her son, the reason that her son, and they didn't come on the show, was because he's having freaking nightmares dealing with it because he was a kid when it happened. He was like 12. And now he's like 17. He's still having nightmares about it. It doesn't end. He's having, and in fact, he's seen it again. This thing came up to their house. And then we had this other guy who messaged us and said that he was being made fun of in one of these groups by, I believe, somebody. He only told one YouTuber about it. And that person, it got back to the ops. And so this guy's a black dude, right? And so they just trolled him mercilessly in the group. I know it was them making fun of him because he got yanked out of his room when he was a kid by one of these things. And nobody believed him. He said it looked like a bear, wolf-like creature. And he ended up with it pulled his pants off. So they were making fun of him in the group, talking about, it took your pants off, huh? Yeah. And it sounds goofy. It sounds silly until it happens to you. And when I talked to this guy, he was crying. Like he broke down. And some people, when I retell their encounter, they can't even listen to it because when they start listening to me talk about it, then they end up crying or they get upset.
It's like they're reliving it.
Mm-hmm, they have anxiety or panic. It's better when they talk about it themselves, but once you retell it, it's like they're reliving it because I paint the picture, the way it happened. So I know these things exist. I've interviewed 24 people now who've seen these bear creatures, and they're always horrific encounters. Hopefully, the people that I sent to that whatever that they'll put their shows on there. And there's a couple of them, and they have bear-like man encounters. Hopefully, they'll put them on there, and people will say, "Well, bears can stand up on their hind legs." Yeah, and bears don't go walk around and pull your ass through a window and look like they're half man. with fingers and hands like we have. Bull crap. And another thing too, this guy said the arms and the legs and the chest was more like a human's hair, just real thick.
Yeah.
But this part right here, he said, Brad said, by the solar plexus right here, down.
Mhm.
And then this part right here was kind of sparse, but there was like this chest hair, it was fur. And it went down like this. And then it covered the legs down toward the knees. He goes, and then it kind of got hairy where you could see the skin. I said, what'd the skin look like? He goes, it was light-skinned, maybe Hispanic or light-skinned, kind of, you know? They weren't brown. The skin wasn't brown. But he said this thing, it was crawling around trying to find a way, and then it just started charging and trying to tear through the brush. He was a lot closer to getting to the pasture, so he just turned and started hacking his way through. And he says, dude, I don't know how I made it. I got through and I jumped that barbed wire fence. He goes, when I did, I caught my right foot, got caught on the top of the fence, and I fell over. My left knee came right down on it, dude. He goes, and I got up and I ran. And he's like, I realized he dislocated his knee. But he still managed to run and get across the pasture.
That adrenaline keeps you going.
That had 2 bulls in it, and he ran by one of them that was kind of not really interested in him, but then it started chasing him. And then he looked back and he saw this creature just running full speed at him, and it was gaining on him. And then the bull kind of turned and was like, had its head down and saw that creature, kind of spun around. It was the smaller of 2 bulls. It was a son, about a year old or a year and a half. And he said, just big enough, to be dangerous, And then it took off away out of the path of this creature. That creature did not give a shit about those bulls, which you don't hear that.
Yeah. Bulls don't run from nothing.
I've heard of these bulls taking on Dogman and throwing them through fences, dude. I'm not joking.
Yeah, it's pretty common.
Pretty common, yeah. They actually do. They'll whoop their ass. I'm not joking.
It's funny enough that's like the most easiest way to get away from them is to just find a tree with a bull in it.
Yeah, with the bull in the pen and
Yeah.
just say, hey. Yeah, and we've heard it more than once where a bull has saved people. Not that the bull is trying to do you favors. The bull just don't want anybody.
Yeah.
The bull hates everybody. Now people, they say, I hate everyone so they can get away with actually hating. It's a cop out. You don't hate everybody. Stop lying.
It's a coward's cop out. No, you don't.
The truth is this. The bulls really do hate everybody.
Yeah.
Not like you when you say you do. I've heard people say that. Black and white. I hate everybody. No, you don't. You're racist.
Hey, everybody equally.
Just say what you are. In this weird ass time where, you don't know who's doing what, just say what you are. Who gives a shit? Yeah, Sugar Bridges sounds like Rufus the bull. Yeah, it does. But these weren't the same kind of bulls. And these bulls were rough. And I remember Brad saying one of those was half Brahma. I don't know what it was because he couldn't give me a full description, but it had that ghost face. Mean as hell. And that bull was not interested in that bear. They went to the other side of the pasture. They didn't run, but they were just not, And so this thing continued to chase him, and he had to go over another barbed wire fence with his knee just completely jacked up. And the adrenaline, I guess, was kicking in. He didn't feel it. And so he didn't try to jump this one and take a chance. He just crawled through it. And that thing just hurtled over it like it was nothing. He begins waving his arms, hollering and screaming. And he's in a pasture full of cows. And once he gets into the herd's kind of separating, he goes, there was quite a few of them, probably 30, 40 of them. He's like, this thing just ran up and just hit one of them. Boom. And took it down. So it was not interested in him so much anymore. But he does feel like he stumbled upon its lair. Because when he was in that grove, which he called it a grove, he's like, I could smell death. So it did want to do something to him. but it was distracted by a meal and it took out those cows. Now, the rancher whose land he was on declined to be interviewed, but he does believe that this thing has been preying on his cows. And according to him, he's lost 16 of them.
God.
So he got a full-on description of it, and he's like, so it's a bear. And Brad kept telling him it's not a bear. I don't know what that is, but that's not a freaking bear. That is not a bear. So this guy, I talked to him very briefly. He declined to be interviewed, but he did ask me a question. He goes, are you some kind of expert in these creatures? And I said, not really, no. But I've heard stories of them, and I spit out a couple of them. And he was like, yeah. Well, how do I kill it? I don't know. You got any C4?
Napalm?
A bear trap.
So I told him, I said, dude, you need to figure out how much of your life you want to risk trying to get rid of it. Because up to this point, I don't think we've heard of anybody killing one of these things.
Not them.
There was a guy up in Wyoming that claims that he shot one with a very high caliber rifle like a bunch of times. And I can't remember what he said he shot it with, but it was no punk rifle. Another guy claims to have unloaded an entire magazine of 45 rounds into it as it ran alongside his truck, and it was just twitching like this as it was getting hit. Didn't feel anything. Some people will say, oh, it was just a bear. Me personally, I don't believe that because I know Brad, and he was just like, no way. No freaking way. The dog man, about 7 foot. This thing, 9.5. Are you kidding me? Like 2 feet taller and way more massive, way more big, like strong, whatever. I've talked to some of my friends that are native and asked them about skinwalkers. Only 2 of them. And I talked to 8 different people, and only 2 of them with 8 different people from 6 different tribes. Or I think it's five different tribes. And not one of them had, but 2 of them, both from the same tribe, had anything about these creatures. They'd heard of them, hadn't seen them. Because if you're a skinwalker, you're probably not going to want to. That form may not be for you because it's too big, too bulky. You're going to get seen. You want to do things under the cover of darkness. You're going to be a coyote, a deer, or a wolf, or a bird. A giant bear that big? No, this is something else. This is some kind of inner earth demonic being that. Whether you think it's a whatever demon, it does demonic things. So let's talk about what happened to Brad after he got away. He got away from this thing. He kept running till his knee was the size of a grapefruit. And he said, dude, I knew that I had messed my knee up bad. He spent like 2 weeks just not being able to walk. And tore his ACL. Had to have surgery, was on crutches for a while. And, he would tell people point blank, straight up, what happened to you? He was in a restaurant. He says, I got chased by a bear man. He said, I got so mad at this one guy because I told him that story. He laughed and he's like, dude, I would slap you with these crutches if I could. And dude's like, you can try. And he was like, well, you know what? I might just come back. Because you get really sick of it. You get tired of the bullshit.
Yeah. Especially because you know that they're laughing because they have a lesser mind.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, who are you? You're an idiot.
They've never experienced anything like this. And so you got to forgive them because they don't understand. But they don't have to be so mocking, And here we are in the real reality, and these people are living in the matrix. They're a part of it. They will always be a part of it. They'll serve the Skeksis, and they'll always do what they got to do.
Skeksis love us.
Like good little gelflings. Getting your energy drained by the vampires. So one of the things that I talked to him about were the dreams. He said that he started having dreams, and when he saw the Dogman things, he didn't. And that was a pretty scary encounter, but it was nothing like this. And he said, when your life is on the line, dude, he goes, this thing wanted to kill me and eat me. I'm positive. He's like, your life is on the line. The thickness of those trees saved him, because there was a good 20 yards of thickness between him and those trees, and that thing probably had to tear them up to get to him.
Yeah.
But he was still shocked at how quickly it got through him. The guy whose land that was adjacent to that land where he was walking had given him permission to walk through there to look for this cave. But the guy told him he had never seen the creature, but he believed that there was a predator out there. He says, I have a predator out there. It's killed 16 of my cows over the last 3 years. Yeah, I hate that too. Lohika, classic line you hear. I believe you believe that's what you saw.
Oh,
yeah. Go fuck your mother on Mother's Day. Should have said that. I just get so mad, man. I get so pissed. Forgive me for saying that, but I just the last person that said that to me was this stupid woman that was so insulting, and I just wanted to just throw coffee in her face. I believe you believe you're crazy. Really? I believe you think it's hot. Remember, it's not really hot. It's just not cold. It's way, way, way above being cold. I believe you feel pain.
Just makes me think of that Watchmen scene
What is it?
when Rorschach's in prison.
Oh, yeah.
You're stuck in here with me.
But I hate that when people try to tell you that. So Brad's
patronizing.
Yeah, Brad's own brother, kind of jokingly messed with him, and he goes, dude, I had just gotten off the crutches, dude, and I smacked him. He goes, I'm not even a violent person. He's like, but after I saw this thing, he goes, dude, and my life was on the line, he goes, I know now. But he's not going out now and looking for these cave holes. He's done with that. He's like, they're there, they're real. I don't need to go out running around trying to prove it. This creature, though, was not done with him or the landowner, because now the landowner, who had just suffered another loss with his cow, was very aggravated. So him and 3 or 4 of the other ranchers in the area decided that they were going to deal with this creature once and for all, or at least see what the hell it was. Because for as big as it was, it must be nocturnal, because none of them were catching it during the day. I think this thing was going back to wherever its lair was. I think Brad was right there by it, and it was probably going to go down into its hole. Here's another interesting thing. A person driving down this farm market road it's off of Ranch Road 12. I'm not going to tell you any more than that, because they live down that road, and they were walking. They were just driving. This is freaky as hell. This would scare the crap out of you. There was a mother and her daughter, and I met them through Brad's buddy, mutual friend of ours. They are from San Marcos, but the woman's mother lives out there. Never saw anything like this before. They saw, one time she told us that she saw something really weird. They were driving along, get this, down Purgatory Road, and they see half a hog go fly across the road, not onto the road, but across the road. And they looked and they saw something go into the brush. Now, Purgatory Road is known for what creature?
Oh, the goat man.
The goat man.
Mhm.
And she's like, she said, she goes, my friend swears up and down when they were teenagers, they went to that cemetery.
Mm-hmm. It's an old cemetery.
And that a big black dog came out of a green hole in the air and chased them. Now I'm waiting to talk to her. Name's Nicole.
It sounds like a portal.
Nicole, yeah. So got to get her story. Then we had one of the Hernandez. I think it was Joe. Well, not Joe's wife. Was it Jerry or Joe's wife? Or
It was Jerry's.
Jerry's wife sees a black goat man carrying like a stag head on the side of the road. And then we've interviewed people, Scorpion's old boss. And then his other boss used to live in our apartment complex. Both of them told us some crazy, wild stuff out there. Not about the goat man, but they both seen a Bigfoot. And his other boss had seen a dog man. Because he said it looked like a Bigfoot, but it had a snout. So maybe what people think of as a gugly, whatever. Big, menacing creatures. Where are they coming from? If you would ask Burt Wall, he's long gone, but he'd probably tell you the whole place is freaking haunted. Haunted by all kinds of shit because they're walking in and out of these freaking portals, dude. That is a vortex, a super highway of weirdness.
Strong one. The
devil's backbone. Whenever you hear that, the devil's this or the devil's that, like our guest on Friday, Bigfoot dwarf. And he talked about California. It brought back a lot of memories. I traveled all over that area. But those people up there, when I was hanging out with those people up in Eugene, Oregon, or down in Klamath Falls, they were like, there's portals here. Be careful for the portals. If you see a mist or a shimmering or whatever, I'm not going toward that shit. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Don't got to tell me twice.
I see that and I'm like, I don't know where this is going to go.
That's when the Mexican part of you kicks in. You have no curiosity whatsoever. Nope.
Might even roll the dice on
I'm going home. I'm not investigating this.
I've lost my ass rolling the dice in Vegas, but I ain't finna do it out in the woods. Or even in these haunted ass places. They were talking about this place downtown, it used to be Spaghetti Warehouse. They were like, hey, you want to come check it out? I know the people that run the blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I'm good. Because people were getting getting yanked and pulled and shoved and smacked. I'm good. Because whatever's there doesn't want to be messed with. And it's probably a very powerful demon. And it could probably smack the shit out you, man. And I don't want to be there. I'm already taking chances having to go to this other place and do an investigation. I promise you. I put my hand on any stack of money. I bet you anything. We're going to find something on camera there at that place. Not that. I'm not going to that one.
Yeah.
You know, big things, people getting slapped. This woman was talking about getting slapped and her friend got shoved. Nah, man. I'm good. I'll take your word for it. I'll tell your story.
You end up taking more than
I just got choke slammed and Tombstone Pile Driver. You want to come by though?
This thing felt like the Undertaker, mixed with the Bear King and body slam me. Okay, just a few broken vertebrae.
One of them knows how to do a stone cold stunner.
Yeah, man. This other woman messaged me and she was telling me about her encounter with an incubus. Two in one day. Well, one of them said she just had a short little whatever, wasn't nothing. She messaged me on Messenger. The other one, it was weird because there was one day, one the next. And the first one said, she's like, I had an encounter with an incubus and it attacked her for years, choked her almost to death. This stuff is real, folks. And I'm going to tell you a little ghost story that goes along with this. After this thing was seen by this woman and her daughter going from San Marcos out there toward I'll just say it, toward Wimberley, they see this humongous creature run out in front of their Tahoe. And she's like, a Tahoe is not a small vehicle. This thing was as big as the damn vehicle. She said it stands up on its hind legs, and her daughter, who's like always down looking at her iPad, she told her to put it in the back seat. She goes, you never know. You might see something interesting.
Yeah. The resolution is a lot better if you look up.
She's like, no sooner did I say that, like 2 or 3 minutes later, my daughter's just like acting all, like a little shit, right? And then she turns, she's like, Mom, Mom, Mom. And there's this thing that looks like a freaking bear and a man had a demonic baby. The size of and she said it was probably 8.5 to 9 feet tall. Thank you, Jason Bouchard, for that. People like you keep us going. And this thing just goes doot, 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 right in front of their vehicle and looked at them like, yeah, I dare you to hit me. I'll destroy that vehicle. Not all of her words. Her words just were, I dare you to hit me. She didn't say destroy your vehicle, but she said that was the impression she got.
Mm-hmm. Like flexing.
Yeah. Like a major flex. Like, go ahead. I'll flip that freaking, I don't give a damn. Look. Happy Mother's Day. It's a mom and her daughter. There's your Mother's Day story right there. They lived. And I told her, I said, you are freaking lucky. She's like, I slowed way down. My daughter said that. And then that thing just went. And it didn't run. She even kind of said it with some venom. She was like, this bastard. Mm. She could see everything too. That it was a male. She's like, I thought it was a man in a suit, but then I thought that is bigger than Shaquille O'Neal mixed with Bigfoot. She's like, she kept asking the question. She's like, how does something like that hide out there? I said, I don't know unless it's inside of a mountain or a hole.
Yeah, underground.
Then she started talking about these holes out there. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Another guy out in Liberty Hill messaged me. Lives out there. Not far from where we got old Beansy.
Mm-hmm.
His story is pretty short. He found one of his horses with this is going to be graphic, folks. And if you're an animal lover, I'm sorry, but its head was twisted. That happened several years ago. That happened back in 2018. 7 years ago. Is that 2018? 7 years ago. Because he said on the email, I just got an email from him a few months ago, and I've been working on doing the Bear King, Reason we know that that's what it is because somebody saw this thing rip the barn doors off of its barn. Something that even Dogman don't really do. Big, heavy barn doors, reinforced, because something had tore them up and gone after the animals. That one happened back in the 90s. And the guy came in there and he just pumped round after round after round into this thing. He was smart. He brought 3 assault rifles and used them on this creature over and over and over again until it took its weird thing. The blood. What do you think the blood was?
Black.
Nope.
White.
Blue.
Oh.
Bluish purple blood came out of this thing. Not red. And that deep blood that comes from the inner artery, I've seen people,
it's like purplish blood.
Being stabbed, or shot, whatever. I've been right there. And it's that deep, deep blood pumping out, He said, nah, man. This guy was a veteran. Nope. Vietnam vet. He goes, dude, I watch people bleed out, and that blood looks darker, but this is blue. And get this. According to this guy, we'll call him John Michael. John Michael takes it to a friend of his who has it analyzed. He's a marine biologist. He says, can you get me a sample of that? Well, it's just not just a friend of his, it's his brother-in-law. But he says, can you get me a sample of that? And that brother-in-law takes it to the Galveston Research Center down there, whatever. You know what it's closely related to?
What?
An octopus.
I don't know why. I just had that in my head, that maybe some kind of sea creature has a blue bodily fluids.
What the freaking hell is that? This thing looked like a giant bear man, though.
I was just about to look up what has blue fluids, what living thing.
Weird, goofy shit, man. I don't mean goofy as in haha, funny goofy. No, I mean as in what in the hell are we dealing with here? Mm-hmm. And what are these people that are in charge, the light of the world, these people, what are they doing with this shit? Because you know that when they voted on this in the Senate or in Congress, they voted to keep these chimeras alive, in particular one party. That's the same color as that thing's blood, because they have the retardation.
Yeah, so it's octopuses, squids, horseshoe crabs, and certain snails and spiders. All spiders.
Yep. And that's what these things
Yeah, they
because
have blue
they're
blood.
arthrocephalopods.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's arthropods. Look up arthropod. I was about to get to that, but you ruined it.
Like you
Thank you.
always do.
You get it, Tony.
Yeah, I
You
get
know
it.
how he is.
I'll just sit here and not talk.
God.
Just gonna stand here and watch me burn. But
should've-
that's all right.
I should have never said anything.
Because you don't want to freaking learn. No, I tell you what, dude, that's actually a good song. I like Rihanna a little bit anyway. But yeah, I don't suggest you doing anything like this. But this guy in 2018 had something that turned its head around, and he thinks that it was that creature. Because it comes back around every few years in that area. Something that I had talked to with Eric Palacios, a while back about how these creatures, like the beasts of Brushy Creek, like every few years there's a sighting.
Yeah, it's a cycle.
It's cyclical. The guy who gave us the story about his grandfather seeing this werewolf creature come out of the water and try to grab him by the Brushy Creek, right? I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head. I can't remember his name. Dang it. It was about about Cedar Park being a logging camp and these werewolf type creatures being there. And there were people that were claiming to see these bear-like creatures too. Oh man, what is his name? Trying to keep track of these people's names is hard. But anyways, that guy, he gave us a story about his grandfather. Not Andrew, was it? No. If I can remember his name, I can remember the story a little better. Dang it. If anybody in the audience can help me remember. His grandfather had sold a bunch of land out there, and he had in Cedar Park area. And then he ended up buying into this big sporting goods company. Was it Clint? I don't know if it was Clint. Clint, no, Clint's another guy. I know who Clint is. Well, there's two Clints that I know. One of them is the guy that was in Saskatchewan. That did all that. Dude, we have so many people we've talked to. It's hard to keep track.
I think I remember the story. He had a bigger property.
Yeah, I mean, his grandfather
moved,
sold three or 400 acres, and they developed it close to where we're living now.
But he doesn't live there anymore, right? He lives. Is it the one where
And I'm not going to say where it's at because I don't want people to know where we live.
But is it the one where on his neighbors from all sides were dealing with stuff?
I don't think so. Because this dude, he didn't really have. It was his grandfather's story. His grandfather was on a horse. And I just remember, something kind of stalked him or whatever, but it didn't attack him.
Is it the one where he's on the horse and
let's just say one shade?
He's there's something in the brush right next to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was his grandfather's story, and and it's similar to the one with the guy from Poland, but not the same one, because those are that guy. That's Luca. I know him. Well, I don't know him, but we talked to him not that long ago. But I'm trying to remember. Anyways, the bottom line is this: there was this bear-like creature that was over there. It's not in Liberty Hill, though. It's not. I guess the closest town would be Liberty Hill. It'd be in between there, Leander, Georgetown, that kind of in that area over there.
Near Nameless and stuff?
No. Anyways, there's a river there, but it took one of these guys' horses, and it consumed part of it, but it didn't. It looked like it was interrupted or something, because there was this blood that was around the horse's blood, and it was blue. So he thinks that because he remembers that story from like the guy that shot that thing was like 1993 when he shot that thing in his barn out
Mhm.
Liberty Hill. There was nobody living out there at that time. That was way out there, dude. And he shot. And there was another guy near Lampasas that saw this creature. And I believe, what's the river right by Lampasas? Look it up. Sabine. I mean,
It's not the Guadalupe,
mine's
is it?
no, it's not the Guadalupe. Guadalupe's over there where Brad was at. I'm trying to remember the name of it. What is the river that's right there? Is it the Sabine
I'm looking it up.
by Lampasas? We need better phones. We can
Yeah.
look up stuff
This
faster.
thing's a piece of crap.
Dude, you send a text and it doesn't go through. It's like, come on, dude.
It is. Oh, I just see Sulphur Creek, but
No,
that's
no, no.
that's
There-
this
no,
probably
there's a
feeds
river that
into
goes
the
right through
actual
there.
river.
Yeah, there's a river. And so, anyways, the point is that there was a sighting of one of these creatures near Lampasas. And this guy was on his
Yep.
way.
Or Lampasas River. That's all it says.
What?
Yeah, I'm looking it up
Okay,
on the
I'm
map.
going to do it myself because I'm going to figure this out.
Sulphur Creek, Lampasas River.
Don't make no sense. When did Lampasas become Lampasas River? That's crazy right there in Lampasas, too. There was two men were arrested for shooting an alligator. There's an article that pops up. It says the Lampasas River. That is so weird. Anyways, I thought there was another river that was close to it. The Lampasas River doesn't make sense because there's another river that goes. It's right there by it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's close to it. Anyways, Sulphur Creek. I know Sulphur Creek, but I thought that that's like an offshoot of the Lampasas River. But I thought there was another river that was like north of it or something. Anyways, north of Lampasas, these guys saw this creature. There are two of them, but I only know of the one guy. I don't know what happened to the other dude. And they saw this bear-like creature cross the road or cross the creek, and it looked massive, like it was a humongous creature. Not like a dogman. I mean, I'm definitely hip on whatever I hear about dogman in this area, and that's not what that was. They are lumped in together, and there are people who will even say, oh yeah, I saw one of these dogman werewolf-like creatures, and then they'll go on to describe this bear thing, and I'm like, that is not the same thing. They don't have the same temperament. They don't have the same. They do similar things, but they just seem to be a different thing altogether. Yeah, thank you for the donation, guys. We appreciate it. But there was this other creature that was so aggressive, that Bigfoot-like creature that people were seeing by Brushy Creek. That one too. It was like a chocolate brown color, and it was very aggressive. It threw like a log, like a big old log, like a spear at some people, and went through the back of these people's fence when they were putting in the tract housing back in the early 2000s. And that was another story, but that was a Bigfoot-like creature, but it was massive too. So, I mean, just wandering around in the woods in Central Texas, I promise you, I'm going to tell you, I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because if you had to put a percentage on, I'm starting to maybe 15% of the people that do it are starting to see things.
The cavern system here is just
there's too many caves.
Unbelievable.
And that's where these bastards are coming out of.
Mm-hmm.
And I say bastards because that's what they are. They're evil. And these people talking about, I give them apples and shut up. Why you're the reason why they're probably coming, because they're like, hey, these people will give you food because they're stupid. And then, hey, you can always eat them.
Yeah.
Chickens lay eggs, and then you can eat the chickens. Right?
You're being domesticated by a cryptid.
You're a cryptid cattle.
Yeah.
You're cryptid cattle. Can't even.
Can't get a grip on it.
There it goes.
Just think of these dogmen talking to each other. But this, you're not going to believe it. You go there, and the food there just starts farming food for you to eat.
Your food gives you food. What? No, they'd never do that. Dude.
Like, no, seriously, come up there with me.
Like, dude. Like, dude, I'm telling you, it's real. I've seen it. Bro, you're freaking stupid, bro. No one's ever gonna believe that. Dude, just come check it out. All right. I'm just giving the benefit of the doubt. All right, man, but I'm telling you, food doesn't make your food for you. They're not that stupid, dude. Dude, I don't know what they're putting in the water or what they're doing, but they got dumber and dumber and dumber. I'm telling you, man, it's like a free-for-all out there, bro. You got to check it out.
And nobody even believes we exist.
Yeah.
You just got to stand there majestically.
Dude, have you not noticed that when we pop out of portals in front of these people and they still think we're flesh and blood? Oh, yeah. When you actually, yeah, I think you have a point, man. That's what I'm talking about, bro. Just come check it out. They feed you. It's free. You don't have to do anything. You just show up and they feed you. And then if they don't have any food, you just eat them like we always do.
They'll blame it on they'll blame it on their pets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one lady that was giving it rabbits, she said she had to give them rabbits for them to leave her alone. And I'm like, maybe because you're giving them rabbits, they're not going to leave you alone. Maybe that is, I don't know. Maybe that's part of the problem.
The more we harass them, the more they feed us.
I don't know. I was buying at Carl's Jr. and it just didn't want to go away. It gets to the point where it starts leaving you like a list of what it wants. I want a Whataburger. Give me an extra patty on the patty melt. Blah, blah, blah. It just gives you a whole just, today this is what I want. Or I'm going to eat you.
Yeah.
And your family. And some of these people, damn, so stupid, they probably would go out and do it too. I'm going to give it a little extra. Because however much you've given it, that's what it expects, and then more. So stop. Do us all a favor and maybe save some lives. People go missing. What do you think what's happening? These incidents, to me, too, like there's a pattern, too, like to these things. Like I said, they're cyclical, and I don't know what these things do. If they have huge territories and they just go around these territories, I bet you if somebody could figure out how to map. I don't have the time for this shit, so maybe somebody has time for it to sit there and map out like, okay, this year this happened, and then it went to another area. Then this year this happened, went to another area, and then it just cycles back around. And who knows how often it's in that one area? Maybe every few years or something. I don't know. But I tell you right now, Anthony had to answer a work call, of course. One of the things that I'm thinking too, like with Brad's encounter, and what happened to this other guy who was having these dreams, these nightmares, whatever. The black dude, I want to say his name because we haven't talked about his name or whatever. So I don't want to just say the black dude because that sounds not,
Correct.
It was, what I'm talking about. It was that white guy. It was that black guy. Just I'm trying to remember, because I don't have permission to say his name right now. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I should or not because he was in a group. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I think that needs to happen with these people that do this research or whatever, they supposedly do the research. I don't believe I think they're full of shit myself, but they need to take into account that first of all, that there are people who've seen these things that don't look like their normal Bigfoot, because a lot of these Bigfoot researchers, what they're doing, folks, is they're lumping all this together in Bigfoot. That's not what these things are. You got more and more people who are seeing wolf-like, bear-like creatures. And I'm going to say this. I don't know that it's more and more people that are seeing them, or if it's always been happening and they were just always classifying them as Bigfoot. That's what they were doing. And then, organizations were throwing them out,
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Brad had a bunch of dreamlike encounters with this creature. When he started going to sleep, he was traumatized. I mean, obviously, but I don't think that accounts for everything that was happening to him. He was starting to have these weird dreams where he would look out the window and he would see this bear-like creature staring in at him that looked like what he saw. And he said that it had the teeth on this thing. Now, if you open up a bear's mouth, not every tooth looks like a shark's tooth. That's what this thing looked like, a shark's mouth. Crazy looking thing. And he said that this thing eventually would tap on the glass. He didn't say tap. He said it would knock. And it sounded like the glass was going to break, and he'd open up his eyes and he'd see it. So he put bars on the windows. And get this, the bars were ripped off of the wall. He said, dude, I had deadbolts, like bolts, not deadbolts, but, like bolts. It was bolted in. The bolts were snapped. This thing pulled them up. That tells you right there it wasn't just a dream. He was seeing it in a dream at night, but it was tearing off the metal, the steel.
The rebar?
No, I mean those bars that they use to put, to bar up people's windows. And so, and then the knocking on the house continued. Eventually, he moved out of that house, not because of that, but he moved away from that house, but he just said that, he's living in another place now, another town. But I couldn't imagine going through that. And I've had those dreams, those weird, crazy dreams about these creatures. And I know, of course, people have said that I'm a vampire, I'm a reptilian. Wrong creatures, dude. He's a werewolf. That stupid idiot goofball telling people, telling my mortgage broker that I'm a werewolf. You stupid ass. If I was, you probably wouldn't be around if I was that kind of an evil person, but I'm not. And here's the other question about this with the bear thing. Is this a man turning into these creatures? Like some of these shape-shifting, or what is it? Because we don't know enough about it. It's not a newcomer, because you hear about it going way back. The Bear King legend where the woman was taken was like in 1870 something. Those runes that they found, the weird pictographs, I mean, those go back to centuries. What are we dealing with here? Is it like J.C. Johnson said, I wish he was still around, but these things, they turn into this creature, then they stay that way, and then they just become a feral monster? Because that's another thing that people don't talk about. What if this thing, if it that's what it is that we're dealing with? What if this thing becomes that creature and then it just stays that way? And they have these extremely long-lived lives, because if they're from the Dorpa Yuga, aka antediluvian, before the flood, they're going to have 1,000-year lifespan just as a human. But we know that these Anunnaki, or whatever they call them, that they have extremely long lives. And they were the engineers. They're the engineers that made these things. Very possibly.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're looking at what could this thing be? What could be this thing? One of the creatures that I've heard so much about too is this crawler. Now, one of the things that it does too, it crawls around like a spider, and you hear about these creatures getting down on all fours and spider low crawling. It's just so bizarre and so weird. And you can't tell me that that's some sort of fluke. Maybe one or two people said, no, man, there's a bunch of people seeing these creatures crawl around like spiders. I mean, that's becoming like a more normal thing.
Yeah, they're definitely very abnormal in how they move. and what they can do, especially compared to like things like the
You
Dogman,
put the camera on. Already
or
did.
even the Bigfoot. I mean, you hear them doing, you know, the dropping on all fours real quick and getting into that position, but it seems like the crawlers especially are able to maneuver, or they have like more maneuverability in that kind of mode or whatever, that spider mode or whatever you call it.
Yeah, Clyde Lewis was talking about that.
Yeah.
And I was on his show, and then we talked about that or whatever. But I mean, like, because it was an intriguing thing. Like he said that he had been hearing more and more reports of that. So have I. So have we all. But here's a weird thing. So the guy that saw this thing out in not Liberty Hill, the other guy. I'm trying to think of the name of the place. We just talked about it. Purgatory Road. Off of Purgatory Road. This guy saw one of these creatures that looked like it was on all fours, and then it stood up and walked like a man. And that guy claimed that he was driving through there, and he saw this creature. Now, there are people that claim to see these things all over the place, like different types of cryptids. They're everywhere. People are talking about them all over Central Texas because, like I said, I think it's a cave system. And I think that cave system runs from Interspace Caverns all the way to Natural Bridge.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think all the way from Georgetown to San Antonio. Maybe even further, maybe Belton even, because I've heard of Belton.
Especially with like a lot of these lakes drying up with how hot Texas has been lately. I'm sure a lot of these things are opening up now and more cave systems are being seen. What's really interesting to me is, you remember like how that one story we got about them, like it was like a plastic bag in the water and how it turned into that rake or whatever. I'm curious to like, I'm curious to how many like how they're able to just disguise themselves as more everyday objects, because it seems like rakes are like enemy number one, because I find them to be attacked by more creatures a lot, or like you hear a lot of them like being hunted down by other creatures more than other encounters. So because I've also heard of them being turned into what's it called, other creatures.
Hang on 1 second. I got to do this.
Well, I mean, I would expect that they hide themselves into these caves during the daytime, but as they are also being what's it called, seen as well as during the daytime as well. So it's not like they're afraid to come out. Yes, 86 soft disclosure is definitely correct. I mean, they've been doing it for a long time. I mean, there's so many different things that you've seen that I would talk about, other than now like I'm seeing it in a lot of these shows, but it's not like you see the whole point that you're trying to make. You see little bits and pieces of it, and then you can kind of connect that with something else to form the whole picture, but you never find the whole picture just plainly put out there.
I'm reading some of these comments.
Dealing with the work stuff.
Everything all right?
Yeah.
Anybody heard of man, bear, pig? Okay, here we go. One more comment like that, dude, and you're banned. I'm not playing around with that bullshit, dude. We're not here to talk about man, bear, pig. Hang on 1 second. All right, folks. So work problems, work shit, work going on. I got to run. I got to go. Sorry that this is the way it is. This is why we're going to move stuff to a website, and we're just going to have to, because I'm never going to get, it's just going to always be like this. Good show so far. We had a great time. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for, we're having just a ton of work, and it's unfortunate. We'll continue this though. We'll continue this conversation on tomorrow. We have tomorrow. So the beginning of the show, we'll talk about tomorrow. Show up tomorrow, and I'll try to put a bow on this. But for now, I apologize. We have to go. I planned on doing another 30 minutes at least. But I have a business. I have a job, and I don't. It's always something, man. Thank you to everybody who donated and participated. You know, I wish things weren't the way they are. All right, I got to run. Bye.